Cruise Night. It's an American tradition that belongs to anyone who loves competition. It's freedom, fun, and fine transportation. You find it happening all over the nation. But the greatest cruising in the land takes place on the street where it all began. Crown International Pictures presents Van Nuys Boulevard.
Okay, where to start? The word van came from the word caravan, which was several wagons in a row. Eventually, the word was shortened down from caravan with a single wagon to a van. Now, vans have been built on the car platform starting in the 1920s when the Model T was built by Henry Ford. There was a need for a covered vehicle for delivery, so people started modifying these car platforms to build a box truck, basically. Fast forward it a few years, you still had a need for a covered vehicle for delivery. You would still have cars that were changed over to deliver. So they would take station wagons and block out the windows in them, seal them up. At that point, you would have a sedan delivery. Those were popular for a while until all of a sudden you saw delivered from Germany a little Volkswagen minibus. So after seeing the microbus, the big three decided they were going to build their own vans. So when they built their own vans, they were saying they were compact, but they weren't by far. One matched the rear engine, which was Chevrolet. They used the Corvair platform, which was a car. Of course, they built the van platform on top of it. To follow suit, though, with covered engines also was Ford and Dodge. So a lot of the hippies that had Volkswagen vans during the 60s kind of grew up, got jobs, ended up they wanted a vehicle just like what they had in the 60s. So a lot of these people were starting to buy vans, and they would buy the base van, and they would start to fix them up, put seats in them, stuff like that for the family, for trips, everything else. Well, that also started a whole trend of where people were taking these vans and starting to throw carpet in them, refrigerators, stereo systems, beds, shag carpeting. On the sides of the van, you would see them add porthole windows or side pipes, wheels, sunroof. On the side of the van also would be artwork. They would box in the side. You'd have a blank canvas that they would have airbrush on it, or it would be the name of the van. Most vans were named. Most of the murals that were on there either depicted a scene or a dream. A lot of stuff that meant anything to the driver was put on the side of these vans. Go into the 80s, vans were still doing pretty good. One of the most popular vans that a lot of people know is from 1983, the A-Team. And then, of course, in 1984 came the minivan. Now, when the minivan came out, vans were still doing pretty decent. They weren't more customized anymore. They would be sent off from the dealer to what would be a Coachworks designer, and they would put captain's chairs in it, sometimes the back sofa, so that would fold down into a bed, TVs, stuff like that. Make it more family friendly, more what people wanted for traveling. Give it into the 90s, they still lasted as conversion vans. Minivans really dominated the market from this point, which then also guys really didn't want to be caught dead in them, because back then everybody looked at a minivan as that just signals that it's the end of your life. You know, you've got several kids and you don't want to be caught dead in one of those. It's a mom vehicle, which also in turn, the minivan then gave way in the 2000s to SUVs, which mom vehicle again, they called it the soccer mom car. So now you had SUVs that were taking everybody around. The vans were holding on very, very slim at this point. After the SUVs became the crossover. If you don't know what a crossover is a sedan along with, or a combination of an SUV together. So it's kind of a bigger car. These things just definitely scream that decade. They scream the 70s. There's so many neat vans that are out there. They still meet for the Van Nationals every year. You need to go and see these in person. These are really neat to look at. You talk about a time capsule, but the artistry that went into these, the work that went into these, the customization that went into these, there was a lot done. It took a lot to do what they did to these things. There's actually one local in my area right now. It does have a little controversy to it. I don't care about controversy. I don't want to hear anything about controversy of this. I like the van, which is the Wild Cherry. It is around this area. I've seen it in person. Love that van. Vans like this right here, these shorty vans, these things are just really neat to see. So next time you ever get a chance, check them out. Look them up online. Look up the history of vans. There's actually a good YouTube story out on that history of vans. I just decided to talk about it for a little bit because my customer brought me this one to work on, and I just honestly, if I get the spare money, I'm going to get me a shorty van and fix it up. But I had to talk about these vans. It's just really neat to see them.